I was the one everyone called when the money went missing, when the numbers didn't add up, when a tiny favor could stop a financial fire. I was also the one they called a burden. At least that's what my sister said out loud, in front of everyone, on Thanksgiving Sunday. My name is Jake Carter, and for 4 years I quietly paid my older sister Olivia's credit card minimums, car notes, and a temporary, personal loan she insisted would melt away once her boutique side hustle took off. I covered auto pays from my account like a ghost writing checks in the dark. No one knew. Not my parents, Linda and Robert. Not Olivia's husband, Ethan. Definitely not the cousins who smiled for photos in beach towns I never visited. I make $250,000 a year as a financial analyst in Columbus, Ohio. It's a good living, one I worked hard for. But in my family, that just means I sit with spreadsheets and suck the joy out of life. Olivia? She lives in a shining suburb outside Chicago with a walk-in pantry bigger than my bedroom, a luxury SUV she nicknames Nova, and an Instagram feed that showcased a life of effortless, curated luxury. On Thanksgiving, while the aromas of roasting turkey filled my parents' home and a crowd of relatives juggled wine and gossip, Olivia called me a mooch. She said I was always asking for help. She wore a new camel-colored coat, the kind that costs more than my rent, and a smile that could cut glass. I watched the words slice through the air and land on me like ash. I felt the familiar heat rise in my chest, the old, tired anger that I always swallowed. But this time was different. This time, her words landed in front of 20 people who all turned to look at me with pity. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and hovered my thumb over 6 recurring payments, each one tied to her perfect, curated life. "Stop begging," she said, her voice dripping with dismissive charm. So I did, and that's when the buzzing started. I learned early that in my family, roles were assigned like costumes, and you were expected to wear yours without complaint. Olivia was the star, 3 years older, magazine beautiful, born to be adored. I was the fixer. If something broke, I repaired it. If someone panicked, I found a plan. It was convenient for everyone. It made me useful. It also made me invisible. When we were kids back in Dayton, Olivia collected trophies for dance and best smile certificates. I collected late-night whispered worries from my parents about the mortgage or the car transmission. By the time we moved to Columbus for their jobs, the script was set. Olivia charmed. I calculated. She dazzled relatives with twirls and stories about school plays. I washed dishes so Mom could sit down for 5 minutes. It wasn't resentment, not at first. It was just gravity. She was the sun. I was a planet, useful for keeping things in orbit. After college at Ohio State, I took the job nobody in the family understood. A financial analyst role at a large investment firm. It sounded fancy, but to them, it meant I stared at rows of numbers like a robot. I was precise, methodical, and good at it. I kept a small apartment downtown, drove a reliable 4-year-old sedan, and didn't post about my life. I didn't need applause. I needed peace, a quiet routine, and a retirement plan that made mathematical sense. Olivia married Ethan, big smile, steady hands, a dentist who quickly became part owner in a booming orthodontics practice just outside Chicago. Their life was an immediate upgrade. They bought a house with a wraparound porch swing and a lemon tree in a pot that she photographed every spring. The captions were always sweet, full of gratitude. The credit card balances behind them weren't. Her calls began almost 4 years ago, innocent enough. "Jakey," she'd said, her voice a little too bright. "I have a tiny problem. I messed up the budget this month. The renovations ran long. Can you cover $920? Just once. I swear, I'll pay you back on the first." $920? Liv, what's going on? "It's nothing." Ethan he wouldn't get it. "You know how he is about the joint account. This is just for my business stuff. Please, you're the only one I can trust." Of course, that's what brothers do. I sent the money. She sent a string of heart emojis. A few months later, it was $1,300 for a vendor mix-up. Then it was a car payment for Nova, her $700 a month SUV. The auto pay is linked to the wrong account. It's a whole mess. Can you just cover it this one time? Then came the personal loan. "There's an opportunity, Jake. A woman I know is selling her inventory, and I can get it for a steal, but I need $10,000 by Friday. Ethan's new partner is scrutinizing everything. I can't ask him." I pushed back. "Liv, that's a lot of money. This is getting out of hand. Her voice cracked. You don't think I know that? Do you want him to leave me? Do you want me to fail? I'm drowning, Jake. Please. I'll pay you back. I'll get a small loan in my name and pay you all back at once. So I co-signed. A fool's errand, but I was her brother. I was the fixer. By the end of that first year, I'd paid around $23,000 in favors. By year 4, I was just paying. I was covering minimums on 4 of her secret credit cards, the car note, her car insurance, and that temporary personal loan. It came to $3,800 every single month. My own spreadsheet, the one I kept hidden, showed I had personally paid over $43,000 in just minimums and stopgaps, not counting the huge loan I'd secured for her. The total unsecured debt I was servicing for her was hovering near $90,000. Minimums. Those little bandages designed to let you bleed out slowly. Every month, I told myself she'd change. She'd get the job. The side hustle would take off. Every month, my thumb approved another transfer, another payment, another patch on her sinking ship. Some roles, it turns out, aren't given. They're accepted. And I had been accepting mine for a lifetime. Thanksgiving at my parents' house used to be harmless. A predictable comfort. Turkey, football on the television, the ritual debate about whether the stuffing was better than the mashed potatoes. This year, the details felt louder, sharper. The monogram napkins Mom had ordered. The elaborate floral centerpiece she'd bought from a craft boutique in German Village. The cousins arrived exactly on time, bearing artisan sides and wearing flawless hair. I brought coleslaw I'd made myself in a simple glass bowl, a side my grandmother used to make. Olivia swept in 30 minutes late, sunglasses perched on her head, carrying a charcuterie board so perfect it looked laminated. Sorry we're late, she sang, kissing Dad's cheek. The traffic from Chicago was just brutal. Olivia charmed the aunts, telling a story about a wine-tasting weekend. Ethan stood a few steps back, a good-natured smile fixed on his face, though I saw embarrassment flicker across it whenever she swiped her phone to show a tiny getaway she planned to Mexico before the school schedules got crunchy. My cousin Mark boasted about his promotion at his law firm. Aunt Patricia bragged that her daughter, Tiffany, had just bought a beautiful new townhome in Charlotte. When the conversation finally tilted toward me, Mom smiled with her careful, calm voice. Jake is still doing his number thing. The conversation drifted, and eventually, my younger cousin Sophie mentioned her student loans. Her voice wobbled, and she tried to laugh it off. I'm just drowning in interest, and the minimums keep shifting. I feel like I'll be paying them off until I'm 60. I opened my mouth, ready to offer actual strategies. Sophie, have you looked at refinancing while the rates are? Oh, Jake, please. Mom cut me off, laughing lightly. Not everyone wants to hear about amortization tables at Thanksgiving dinner. It's a holiday. Olivia lifted her glass of white wine. You should talk to me, sweetie. I'm actually great with money. I mean, look at my house. You just have to be smart about it. What followed wasn't advice. It was a string of slogans from a motivational poster. You have to budget better. Get a side hustle. Manifest abundance. Don't have a poverty mindset. Sophie just nodded, polite but clearly unconvinced. Later, after dinner, I found Sophie alone in the kitchen rinsing a plate. Hey, I said quietly. If you're serious, I can send you some real resources. There are a few ways to consolidate and negotiate your rate that could save you thousands. Sophie's face lit up with real gratitude. Oh my God, Jake, would you? That would be amazing. Of course. I'm not selling anything, I said. I just know a few. Can you not? Olivia had appeared in the doorway, holding an empty platter. Her eyes were laser sharp. She doesn't need your obscure spreadsheet tricks, Jake. You always do this. Do what? Offer actual help? You make it complicated. You suck the fun out of everything, she said. That's your only skill, Jake. Numbers. But people aren't numbers. She said it like a verdict, final and absolute. Then she raised her voice just enough for the ants hovering in the dining room to hear. And honestly, maybe you should stop asking me for money all the time. It's getting embarrassing. The clatter of forks stopped. The room quieted instantly. Aunt Patricia froze. Dad stiffened. Ethan, standing behind her, stared at the floor, his face pale. I felt the old costume slide over me, the heavy, choking scapegoat cape that never fit and always smelled like someone else's problems. She was painting me as the leech. Me. I just stared at her. I couldn't find a single word. She mistook my silence for shame. I'm happy to help family, she continued, her voice softening into a grotesque display of fake pity. But you need to learn to stand on your own 2 feet, little brother. I took out my phone. There's a sound your heart makes when public humiliation hits. It's not a thud. It's a hollow clang, like a spoon dropped into an empty sink. Olivia's words clattered in that empty space. I stared at the 6 scheduled payments in my banking app. 1. Amex Platinum, minimum $1,250. 2. Chase Sapphire, minimum $900. 3. Personal loan, co-signed $400. 4. Nova SUV car note, $780. 5. State Farm auto insurance, $330. 6. Household, her slush fund $140. Total, $3,800. A monthly ritual I performed in silence while she filmed unboxings and day-in-the-life reels. Stop begging, she had said, almost laughing. I heard chairs scrape. I felt everyone's eyes. These people, my family, now believed I was a failure. A mooch who leeched off his successful, beautiful older sister. Dad stepped forward, his voice low with a disappointment that wasn't even aimed at the right person. Son, if you're struggling, you can talk to us. You don't need to burden Olivia. I swallowed hard, the taste of bile in my throat. I was not struggling. I was complicit. And there is a difference that suddenly mattered more than oxygen. My thumb hovered over the first toggle. Who am I if I keep doing this? The fix-it brother? The invisible ATM with a pulse? Do I still owe her something because she used to read to me when I was sick? Do I owe her for threatening the guy who pushed me in the 7th grade? Or do I owe myself the truth? That love without boundaries isn't love. It's poison. Family helps family, Olivia added, almost sweetly, twisting the knife. But there are limits. Limits. Yes. I remembered every single late night, panicked emergency call. Each empty promise of I'll pay you back, I swear. I remembered all the months I had to skip putting the full amount into my own retirement savings, sacrificing my own future for hers. I thought of every vacation I didn't take, every time I looked at my own modest apartment and postponed my own plans, always telling myself, maybe next year. I remembered the time I asked for even a partial repayment so I could seize an investment opportunity, and she'd sent me a single heart emoji and a promise that dissolved like sugar in water. I clicked the first toggle. Cancelled. Then the second. Cancelled. A prickling, awful hush fell over the kitchen. My phone lit up with a bank confirmation. Your recurring payment has been cancelled. Then another. Then a third. Across the counter, Olivia's phone, sitting next to her wine glass, began to buzz. A sharp, insistent vibration on the granite. She ignored it. It buzzed again. She laughed, a high-pitched, nervous sound. Anyway, so this trip to Mexico. I clicked the 4th payment. Cancelled. The 5th. Cancelled. The 6th. Cancelled. I felt the old, hot anger curl into something new. Something calm, cold, and final. It was not rage. It was relief. In 90 steady seconds, I had cancelled all 6 autopays. Then, I went one step further. I used the bank's secure message portal to request a permanent stop on any future transfers to those 6 account numbers. I typed every single one from memory. I hit send. Olivia was still talking, rambling now, describing the art of a curated life to a frozen audience, completely oblivious to the financial storm that had already made landfall. Her phone hummed like a trapped wasp. BZZT, BZZT, BZZT. At first, she ignored it. Then she glanced down, annoyed. Her smile faltered. Color drained from her face as she read the notifications. Payment canceled. Payment canceled. Payment canceled. Probably just spam, she said, her voice suddenly too bright. Another alert. Then a call. She silenced it, her thumb jabbing the screen. It started ringing again instantly. Are you going to answer that, honey? Mom asked, her voice tight with anxiety. It's fine, Olivia said, almost a hiss. I slipped my phone into my pocket. I lifted my canvas jacket from the back of the chair. I'm heading out, I said to the room. As I walked through the sliding glass door, the chorus behind me rose. Confused murmurs, worried questions, a half-started apology from my father. Olivia's phone rang, then rang again, a relentless metronome counting down to her new reality. As I drove home through the cold November evening, I kept waiting for my hands to start shaking. I expected a wave of guilt or maybe just pure rage to hit me. But I was just steady. I thought for sure I would cry, but I didn't. Instead, I just breathed, long, even breaths, until that tight feeling in my chest finally eased, and I felt like I could belong to myself again. By the time I parked at my apartment, my phone showed 14 missed calls from Olivia, 3 from Mom, and 1 from Dad. A flood of texts had started, and I watched them roll in. Olivia, 8:02 p.m. What did you do? Olivia, 8:03 p.m. My card just declined. At the gas station. Fix it. Olivia, 8:05 p.m. Jake. Answer me. This isn't funny. Olivia, 8:10 p.m. You're trying to ruin me. After everything I've done for you? Mom, 8:15 p.m. Jake, please call home. Olivia is very upset. I set the phone face down on the counter, made a cup of tea, and opened my laptop. If the past 4 years had taught me anything, it was how to document everything. I built a clean ledger, every payment, every date, every memo. Then I compiled the screenshots of texts, dozens of them. Just until next month. You're saving my marriage, I swear. You're the only one who understands, Jakey. Don't tell Ethan. I exported the whole thing as a single file, 48 pages long, and saved it to 3 different secure cloud locations. A paper trail for my own sanity. For a minute, it felt like a win. Then the voicemails landed. The first voicemail was a snarl. What did you do, Jake? This is my life. Fix it. Now. The second was breathless, panicked. My cards are declining. All of them. The bank. Oh my God, just call me. Ethan is asking questions. Call me. The third, which came near midnight, was small and weeping. Please. Jakey, please. He's going to find out. Please. I'm sorry, just turn them back on. Please. The next morning, an unknown number flashed on my screen. This is Dana from Meridian Bank, a professional voice said. We're calling to verify your authorization to end a recurring payment to an account ending in 2048. That's correct, I said. Cancel it. Effective immediately. I want a permanent stop payment. Understood, sir, she said gently. Just so you know, this may result in late fees or a return payment for the primary cardholder. I understand, I said. The arrangement has ended. 5 minutes later, Olivia again, this time via text. So you canceled everything. All of it. Are you proud of yourself? You're destroying my family. I typed one, slow reply. You told me to stop begging. I'm respecting your wishes. You're twisting my words. You know that's not what I meant. You were very clear. I have $90,000 in debt, Jake. I can't make these payments. You know that. Her written admission, the exact number, stung and soothed all at once. I stared at it for a long beat. I replied, then perhaps do not spend $90,000 you don't have. This is no longer my responsibility. I wish you luck with your budget. The silence that followed was absolute. Then, an hour later, Mom called. Your sister is hysterical, she said, her voice a sharp blade, skipping hello entirely. She's talking about collection agencies. Your father is worried sick. What did you do? I stopped paying her bills, I said, my voice quiet. You what? What bills? For 4 years, Mom, I've been paying Olivia's minimums. Her credit cards, her car, her insurance, a personal loan. Every single month. I have the records. Mom inhaled, a sharp, shocked sound, like I'd slapped her. Why didn't you tell us? Why would you do that? She asked me not to. She said Ethan would leave her if he knew the truth. But Jake, you can't just stop. You can't just cut her off like that. She'll be ruined. I can, I said. And I did. Dad called later that evening, his voice tight with that familiar, weary judgment. She could lose her credit, son. She could lose her car. She has a husband. She has options. And now, she has consequences. You've changed, Jake, he said, his voice laced with disappointment. I used to be useful, I said quietly. That's not the same as being kind. For the first time in my entire life, I hung up on my father. The silence that filled my apartment afterward was not empty. It was mine. News of that much drama spread through the family like wildfire. Within 48 hours, it felt like every aunt, uncle, and cousin had heard what happened. Aunt Patricia left a 3-minute voicemail full of sighs and vague religious guilt. Cousin Mark, surprisingly, texted a bro-ish, damn man. That's rough. Stand your ground. Tiffany, the one with the new townhome in Charlotte, sent a long, thoughtful paragraph about boundaries that sounded like it came directly from a therapist's Instagram post. Then, on Wednesday, Ethan called. "Jake," he said. His voice was flat. He sounded like he hadn't slept. "Can we talk? If this is about Olivia's accounts, I've already spoken to my parents." "No, I know." She finally told me. "Not all of it, but enough." He exhaled, a ragged, heavy sound. "I'm sorry. I am so sorry. You were covering her debt while she let everyone, including me, think the opposite." "Ethan, you don't have to." "I do. I handle our joint finances, our mortgage, the investments." But she had her own business accounts. She kept saying it was her own income, that it was handled. I should have dug sooner. I should have seen it. "You believed your wife?" I said. "I believed the person I love," he answered, and the raw honesty in it made my throat tight. "What she said to you at the party, calling you a beggar, that was cruel. And a lie. I am so ashamed." "I'm used to it," I said, and then heard how sad and broken that sounded. Or I was. "Well, it's over," he said, his voice hardening. "I'm handling it. Thank you for stopping it. You probably saved us in the long run." He hung up. A day later, Sophie, my cousin, called too. "I didn't know, Jake. I'm so sorry. But I told Aunt Patricia the truth. And the cousin group chat knows. Everyone's furious at Olivia for what she said." "I didn't ask you to do that," I said, softer than I felt. "I know. But truth spreads itself, I guess." She paused. "So, will you still help me with my loans?" "Yes," I said, and I smiled. "Come over on Saturday." When Saturday came, I brewed coffee and laid out my laptop. For 3 hours, I taught Sophie scripts for negotiating rates, how to consolidate wisely, and why bi-weekly half payments can snowball into real progress. We made 3 phone calls and, by the end of the afternoon, had shaved a projected $14,000 off her total interest. She cried, then tried to pay me. I refused. After she left, I sat alone in my quiet apartment and looked around. The couch felt too small, the walls felt too blank. For 4 years, I'd sent away $3,800 a month like a tithe to someone else's calm, someone else's image. Now that money could finally come home. I opened a new spreadsheet on my laptop. I labeled it Jake Life. It had 3 tabs: investments, travel, and furniture. I smiled at the simple, profound ordinariness of it. Then someone knocked on my door. Olivia stood in the hallway. She was wearing old sweatpants and a university hoodie. Her hair was tangled into a messy bun that made her look years younger and more mortal than any filtered post I'd ever seen. There was no makeup, and her eyes were red and puffy. She held her phone in her hand like it was a burned thing. "Can I come in?" she asked. I should have said no. I stepped aside. She stared at my small living room, the thrifted rug, the scuffed coffee table, the framed National Park poster I'd found on sale. She'd once called my place aggressively minimalist. In that way that meant cheap. Now she just rubbed her sleeves like she was cold. "I messed up," she said finally. The words broke apart. What I said on Thanksgiving, it was horrible. I wanted to look successful. I panicked. "I hurt you. You called me a beggar while I was paying your bills," I said. The words were flat, objective. $3,800. Every month. For 4 years. She nodded, fresh tears welling and spilling over. "I know. And Ethan knows now. He knows everything." She gestured weakly. He's furious. He said the Mexico vacation is canceled. He took my car keys and said we're selling the SUV. He said I have to get a job. A real job." She swallowed, as if the word job was dry bread. She took a step closer. "Please, Jake. Just a few more months. Just until I get on my feet. I'll start working. I just need time. Please don't let him do this." "I gave you 4 years," I said, my voice not rising. 4 years of just 1 more month. 4 years of emergencies that were really just purchases. 4 years of your silence while you let the whole family think I took from you. She covered her face. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice muffled by her palms. "I believe you're sorry about the consequences," I said. "I don't know if you understand the harm." "Please," she whispered again. Ethan will. Ethan will adjust. Or he won't. But either way, he deserves the truth. We both do." I opened the door and waited. She walked out slowly, as if the air in my apartment were too heavy to breathe. In the hallway, she turned. "You were always the kind one," she whispered. And for a second I saw the girl who used to sit on the porch steps with me and split a popsicle down the middle. I'm trying to be that person again. Kindness without honesty isn't kindness, Olivia, I said. It's camouflage. I closed the door. Here is a significantly shortened version of that entire section. Within 3 weeks, Ethan took charge. He seized control of their finances, sold the Nova SUV to pay down debt, put Olivia on a strict budget, and made her get a job. My family was split. Mom called it humiliation, but I called it accountability. Dad tried to mediate, but I refused. The older aunts thought I was too harsh. The younger cousins started a group chat called Team Jake. Olivia's once perfect Instagram feed went silent. When she posted again, the polished, curated life was gone, replaced by simple, blurry photos of her kids at the park and a post that just said, "First day of work." A month later, Ethan texted to say they were in counseling. He thanked me for stopping it before things got worse. I simply replied, "Take care of each other." With my finances free, I funneled that $3,800 a month into my own investments. Months passed. I replaced my lumpy couch. I bought new pans. Christmas was awkward, but Ethan pulled me aside and said, "She's trying." He was right. 6 months after that Thanksgiving, I got a text from Olivia. It was a screenshot of a $500 transfer. Beneath it, first payment. "It will take me a long time, but I'm going to pay you back every dollar." I just wrote back, "Received. Thank you." Here's what I learned. The family scapegoat is a role carved by silence. The moment you stop playing it, the whole script wobbles. You don't become the villain. You finally become the main character of your own story. I'm 32 now. I still live simply, but my portfolio is up 34% since last Thanksgiving. I'm planning a trip. Olivia still sends $500 every month. I hope she's learning. But I'm happiest for me. Because for the first time in my life, I am not an ATM with a heartbeat. I'm Jake Carter. Thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.